Alright guys, welcome to the Skyrim Ultimate Modding or Some Guide, and we're getting pretty close to the home stretch, guys. We are getting pretty damn close, probably like a couple more videos after this one. Now, that being said, with this many mods installed, we are going to run into issues as we play and probably have to polish them out, and as I run into issues and find ways to fix them, I'll also be updating you guys as well with new videos as I do my playthrough. Like, hey, I ran into this mesh that's missing a texture here, and if you guys want to fix it, here's how. And you know, some of those little polish videos, let's call them, might not show up till like weeks after I actually finish the main series. But we're coming in on the home stretch now for the main series. So congratulate yourselves if you've made it this far, guys. I know a lot of this has been really tedious, but I want to do it right for you guys. So, all right, so here's what we're going to do today. So we have a number of patches that require masters that we have merged into one mod or another. So we've got the legendary Skyrim crossbows Moro Loot Ultimate patch. Now, of course, we're not merging Moro Loot into anything, but its other master, legendary Skyrim crossbows, has been merged into the weapons 308 weapons merged mod. And then there's another one, Ars Metallica LCS patch, or LSC patch. So, and that's another one that obviously we have not merged Ars Metallica, but we have merged legendary Skyrim crossbows. And then there are some other ones. We need to get the Better Vampires for the Falskaar Knight Better Vampires patch. We need to potentially consider getting consistent older people for, there's some mod we got that requires that. And so we just need to, let's just go through and we're gonna fix some of that stuff. And then there are some patches here for audio overhaul Skyrim. For example, the uniques and Zim's immersive artifacts. A lot of that stuff we are going to merge, and then we're going to have to basically point these patches to the new merged mod as masters. So let's kind of go through and do some of that today. So this is kind of a touch-up episode. I don't know for sure if we'll get into actually installing any new things this episode. It depends on how quick this one goes. Here's the other one. Opulent Outfits requires SPT Consistent Older People Special Edition. The thing is, I don't really need consistent older people because we have diversity installed in most of the old people. What this does is, if you notice in Skyrim, sometimes if you add mods that make the people look better, or you know, body mods, the old people will have an old wrinkly face, but then as soon as it hits the neck, from the neck down, like at that seam, they're like immaculate bodies, like perfect, like useful bodies from there on down. But so far from what I've seen with diversity and getting our load order right, the way we have everything installed, I mostly have old people that have properly old bodies. So I don't think we really even need consistent older people installed. It would be like redundant. So I'm not really sure why Opulent Outfits requires consistent older people. So we have to make a decision there. Do we really want the mage robes of the college of the NPCs of the College of Winterhold to be really cool, but have to get this mod that's kind of redundant in our load order that we might not even necessarily need? Or do we just say skip this and we don't really need those stupid robes? You know what I mean? So things like that. And I think I'm probably going to try to go ahead and get it and get the consistent older people and hope it doesn't mess up our people. But see, it's things like that you're like, okay, well, if that throws off some face tints and gives us more bugs, it's like just more work to deal with. So I have to think about that one. But anyways, here's our legendary Skyrim crossbows, and you'll see it's deticked because we've merged it into 308 weapons merged, which if you click here, any mod you click on the left-hand side in the mod pane of mod organizer, it will highlight it. If it's active in your load order, it will highlight it in the load order of mod organizer so you can quickly find it. So here's our weapons merged. And you can see that one of those merged things is legendary Skyrim crossbows ESP. It's like the fourth one in there. So what we need to do is load this and legendary Skyrim crossbows. So we need to actually tick that, and mods that patch it, that rely upon legendary Skyrim crossbows. And we need to go into SSE edit and change the masters. So let's find all of the mods that rely upon legendary Skyrim crossbows. I think it's only two: the Ars Metallica LSC patch and the LSC Moro Loot Ultimate patch. So let's go into SSE edit, select run. All right, so right click, select none. And the first thing we're going to do is the Legendary Skyrim Crossbows Moraloot Ultimate patch. So select that and Moraloot Ultimate ESP and Legendary Skyrim Crossbows, Legendary space Skyrim. There it is. It'll highlight if you search for it. Then you're going to want weapons merged, and there it is. Once you've got those 4 activated, so Moraloot Ultimate, Legendary Skyrim Crossbows, Legendary Skyrim Crossbows Moraloot Ultimate patch, and weapons merged, select OK. Alright, once the background loader has finished, go over to your patch, LSC_MLU patch, and click the little plus symbol on the left side to drop down the submenus and select File Header. On the left-hand side, you're going to see a list of master files upon which this patch is dependent. We're going to go into the one that says Legendary Skyrim Crossbows, right-click, and select Edit. And select Yes, I'm absolutely sure. Now, this is very important. This has to be named exactly as your weapons merged mod that we created is titled, the ESP title. So for me, that would be weapons with an uppercase W, space. The spaces are important and it's all case sensitive. You've got to get this exact, guys, exactly how you've named whatever your weapons merged mod. If you're following this series to a T, it'll be exactly like this. But whatever your merged weapons mod name is, you have to add to LSCMLU patch as a master, and it has to be exact, word for word, letter for letter. So in my case, hopefully in your case too, weapons with a capital W space merged all caps .esp, no spaces, select OK. Once that is done, you can close this out and make sure that only LSCMLU patch has been altered and only that is selected, and select OK. Now in our overwrite folder, you will see our new patch. And if you don't create a new mod from this and you leave this one selected, once we deselect Legendary Skyrim Crossbows, it'll throw up a flag. You actually have to replace this with the one that we just sent to the overwrite folder. So right click and create mod. Let's call this one 309 Legendary Skyrim, Crossbows MLU patch. Select OK and tick the checkbox to activate. Now you'll see that our new LSC MLU patch comes from Origin 309 Legendary Skyrim Crossbows MLU patch, which is what we just created, and that under the enabled masters, it no longer says Legendary Skyrim Crossbows, but says weapons merged. Hooray, we did it. Now we have to do that for Ars Metallica. So let's jump into SSE Edit. Right click and select None. Now find the Ars Metallica LSC patch. You'll also have to find Ars Metallica, which is right there after a quick search, and Legendary Skyrim Crossbows, Legendary space Skyrim, there it is. And finally, weapons merged. So once you've got weapons merged, Legendary Skyrim Crossbows, Ars Metallica, and Ars Metallica Legendary Skyrim Crossbows patch all selected, click OK. Once the background loader has finished, click the little plus symbol next to Ars Metallica LSC patch and go into the file header, and under your master files on the left hand side, find the one that says Legendary Skyrim Crossbows, right click and select Edit. Select I'm absolutely sure. And now let's title this just as we did the last one, capital W, or whatever yours is. If yours isn't exactly as mine, name this exactly as your merged weapons patch is named. For me, weapons with a capital W space merged all caps .esp. And I'm just going to double and triple and quadruple check this. This has to be exact, guys. Now select OK and close and make sure only Ars Metallica LSC patch is selected and click OK. Now right click the overwrite bar and select Create Mod and call this 310 Legendary Skyrim Crossbows Ars, let's say Ars patch. That's fine. I don't want these titles to be too long. Okay, and tick the checkbox to activate. Now you'll see if you hover over Ars Metallica LSC patch, You'll no longer see legendary Skyrim crossbows as an enabled master, but rather you'll see weapons merged. This is good. This means we can go to legendary Skyrim crossbows, click on it to highlight it in the load order, go and find it, and we can now detick this, or actually in our case, we're just going to double click this and move it to optional ESPs so it disappears from the load order entirely. Goodbye. And look, those patches no longer require legendary Skyrim crossbows. Hooray! Big round of applause, guys. You did it. Good job, guys. So now you'll see that we have two mods selected here that have nothing in them because we basically altered the ESPs within them and moved them to new mods. So these are basically redundant and useless now, which means we probably shouldn't have numbered them because we're going to have a gap. But if you reinstall all this, you'll still need to install those anyway. So let's just detick them. That's fine. We can still leave them numbered because that way you'll know, like, oh, I still have to install those. I mean, technically, if you reinstall, you'll still have these patches, so you really won't need these, but it's just, you can do what you want. If you want to renumber these to those and move them up there, you know, you can do that, and that's probably the cleaner way to do it, but it doesn't really matter too much. For now, I'm just going to leave it. So moving on. Now here's another thing what we just did, we're going to need to do for some other things, and I will talk about those things. So all these audio overhaul Skyrim things, we have patches that rely upon unique uniques and Zim's immersive artifacts, and we haven't installed Zims yet, but we have installed uniques. And we merged uniques into weapons merged. So that's another one that we're going to have to get to rely not on uniques ESP, but rather on the weapons merged patch. And then Zim's immersive artifacts we're going to merge in a moment as well. So let's wait on this and I'll show you what we're going to do. So for now, go to your downloads and find immersive jewelry and double click it. And let's number this one 311 and select OK. Now take the checkbox to activate that and then find the immersive jewelry 1.06a patch. This is basically, I think, a patch to the BSA. So let's double click this. And I don't think we're going to need to actually number this one because I'm pretty sure we're going to be able to open them in Explorer and just merge the two into one. So let me just check that real quick. So let's go into file tree and see exactly what's in here. Okay, it's meshes, textures, and an ESP replacement. So if we were to tick that, it would just overwrite these things, but we want it to because it was a fix. So yeah, let's just open this. Let's open both of these in Explorer. So the main immersive jewelry mod, open in Explorer, and then immersive jewelry 1.06a, open in Explorer. And then we just want to select immersive jewelry ESP and its meshes and textures and drag it over into the 311 immersive jewelry SSE and replace. So now that we've done that, we can close both folders, tab back into Mod Organizer, and we can just remove this patch since we've merged it all into 311 Immersive Jewelry. Now find and double click Improved Daedric Artifacts. And let's number this one 312 and select OK. And then find Zim's Immersive Artifacts v1.4. I think this overwrites some things in the Improved Daedric Artifacts, but not all. And I think this one is better. I think that's why I decided to download these in this order. This all has a plan, guys, believe it or not. Most of this anyways. So, okay, let's do complete pack and select next. On the alternatives page, we're just going to select none. We're going to leave this as it is, on none, and select install. You can select some of these if you want. The problem with this, though, is that we've already got some mods that alter a few of these things, and they're probably going to be a little bit better than this anyways, and a lot of these are just alternatives. It doesn't mean you're not getting anything. It's just like, for example, on Sanguine Rose, if you want purple, black, or white instead of red. So basically, you guys can go through this and see if you want any of that, but I'm just going to leave it on none and select install. All right, now that we've got that done, you can see that now that we have Zim's Immersive Artifacts, we can select this and it won't be missing that master. However, I want to merge Zim's Immersive Artifacts into Improved Daedric Artifacts and just call it Artifacts Merged or something. I know it's only 2 ESPs and it's only going to reduce it to 1, but still, every little bit we can do helps when we're dealing with load orders this big. Now, I also want to merge Gemling Queen Jewelry into Immersive Jewelry if we can without a great deal of problems. But if you go to the downloads tab, if you'll remember all the huge long list of More Loot Ultimate patches we downloaded, we actually have some of this now. So More Loot Ultimate, Zim's Immersive Artifacts, Unique Uniques, Lore Weapon Expansion, Insanity Sorrow. Now we merged a bunch of these into the weapons merge, so we've got some work to do. So let's go ahead and go in here and find all those. Now we don't want the Inigo one yet. We have not yet downloaded Inigo, but we've got Insanity Sorrow's weapons, Lore Weapon Expansion, Unique Uniques, and Zim's Immersive Artifacts all now. So let's install all of these MLU patches, starting with the Insanity Sorrow one. And let's actually name this fully. You know how I like to see exactly what is going on. Although I guess we're probably going to merge these, so it won't matter too much, but let's call this 314 and select OK. Now Lore Weapon Expansion. 315, select OK. Now Unique Uniques and MLU Zim's Immersive Artifacts. Now you'll notice these have flags because since we merged all of these into our weapons merged mod, we deselected all of the ESPs for these individually, but we're going to need them in order to change the masters in SSE Edit. So we're going to have to actually temporarily reactivate those. So double click Insanity Sorrow's weapons pack and move the optional ESP back to available ESPs and close. Now do the same thing for Unique Uniques, which is up a little higher. It's 274 in the load order. Double click and move Unique Uniques to available from optional and close. All right, now same thing for Lore Weapon Expansion. So double click it, go to optional ESPs. Just move the main ESP Lore Weapon Expansion and move Gold Brand and Relics of the Crusader. So yeah, this needs all of them. So move this back to available ESPs and close and activate that as well. Let's do this one first since it's such a pain in the ass. Now, when you change masters for a mod, it's important to note, guys, you can't do all of them at once. I've tried this. Trust me on this. It won't work. I mean, maybe you'll get a fluke and it'll work once, depending on what you're trying to merge. I guess that's a possibility. But for the most part, it's just not a good idea to try to do. So like, say we tried to do multiple. So, okay, say we wanted to do Lore Weapon Expansion MLU. So we want to basically remove the masters, Lore Weapon Expansion, Daedric Crescent, all those, and just make the new master weapons merged ESP. So we load this in, we load all these Lore Weapon Expansions in to SSE Edit, we load Moro Loot, we load our weapons merged, and, you know, say we remain in SSE Edit and then try to do this one, like we load all the things for this one too. It won't work. You want to do one at a time. So we're gonna have to do this one, finish it in SSE Edit, close it out, and then move on to the next one. So it's kind of a little bit of a lengthy, tedious process, but all necessary, all good, and all awesome for reducing your load order and keeping things efficient. And also it's just necessary. So let's start with this Lore Weapon Expansion thing because it requires so much crap. First, let's sort our load order with loot, because I don't want to get an error message saying that some patch or something that requires a master is being loaded after its master and it shouldn't be, and all that wonderful stuff that happens. All right, now let's load SSE Edit. This is going to make it harder to find the ESPs we want, but better safe than sorry on that. So let's find the MLU Lore Weapon Expansions ESP first. Then find Lore Weapon Expansions, Gold Brand, Relics of the Crusader, Daedric Crescent, and the main Lore Weapon Expansions, which looks like it's been sorted up higher. You can always just actually search, and there it is right there. And then that's also a helpful way to make sure you've got all of the ESPs, the Lore Weapon Expansion ESP selected, because it will highlight all of them in the load order. So that's a handy way of doing that. Then we also need Moro Loot Ultimate ESP activated. And finally, we need our weapons merged ESP activated. So there it is. Now select OK. All right, once the background loader has finished, go to mlu-loreweaponexpansions.esp. Click the plus symbol on the left to drop down the submenus and select file header. And under your masters here, we're basically going to have to do something a little bit different this time. We're going to have to basically rename one of these to weapons merged and then delete the rest because all of these are merged into weapons merged. So just select one of these lore weapon expansion slots here, the main one, lore weapon expansion ESP, and right click. Whoops, I don't know what happened there. Right click, select edit, and you'll probably get a thing that says yes, I'm absolutely sure. Make sure you select yes on that. And then let's just rename this. You guys know the drill by now. You just make sure you title it exactly. It's case sensitive, it's space sensitive, it's everything sensitive. Make sure it's exact. So in my case, weapons with the capital W, space, merged, all caps, .esp, and select OK. Now we're going to remove the other lore weapon expansions masters. So to do that, right click in the little tiny row just above lore weapon expansions relics of the Crusader. There's like an empty space, and select remove. Now do that for Goldbrand and do that for Daedric Crescent. Be very careful here. As you see, I almost wasn't just now. You should just have weapons merged and none of the lore weapons expansions files as master files now. Once you've done that, close out and make sure only MLU lore weapon expansions.esp is selected and click OK. Now right click and select create mod and call this, which you could, well, whatever, we'll get into that in a minute. 318 Moro Loot Ultimate Lore Weapon Expansion Patch. Select OK. Now you'll notice this is only slightly different from the one that we just installed above here that we've just now replaced. You can de-tick that one now as it's unnecessary and redundant, and there's nothing in there anyways now because we've just altered the ESP within it and sent it to a new mod. So I mean, technically you could rename this one 315 and just delete this one entirely. Which might be the better way to go. I'm just doing it this way because if you need to reinstall everything sometime and for some reason you don't have your patch you made or you lose that somehow, it would be good to have this, but I can't see why that would happen. So if you really want to be clean with this stuff over here on the left side, you could renumber this to 315 and drag it in the old one spot and delete the old one. But I think I'm just going to leave it personally so I can kind of remember everything I did as things get more confusing like this, you know? So yeah, so that's what I'm going to do on that. So now if you hover over MLU lore weapon expansion, you should see that its origin is now 318 Moro Loot Ultimate Lore Weapon Expansion Patch, and it's got weapons merged as a master. We should now be able to go into lore weapon expansions, double click, go to optional ESPs and move these all back to optional and select close. And you'll notice the MLU lore weapon expansion ESP patch no longer has a red flag for missing those masters as we've changed the master. Now we want to do the same thing for MLU unique uniques patch. So let's run SSE edit. Right click in the window and select none. Now let's find MLU unique uniques patch. Then we've also got to activate MLU while we're here. And let's now find unique uniques. There it is, easy to find just by searching. Now let's find weapons merged, and I just spelled it really weird, but I still found it. And that should be everything. So weapons merged, MLU, MLU unique uniques, and unique uniques, and select OK. Okay, once the background loader has finished, it's the same old story, guys. Click the plus symbol next to the MLU unique uniques patch, select file header, find unique uniques, right click, select edit, select yes, I'm absolutely sure, and rename this to weapons with a capital W, space, merged, all caps, .esp, or whatever you've named your merged weapons mod into, and make sure it's exact, and select OK. And that's it. Just close this, make sure only MLU unique uniques patch is selected, and select OK. Now right click the overwrite bar, create mod, 319 Moro Loot Ultimate Unique Uniques Patch. Okay, select OK and tick the checkbox to activate, and then you can deactivate the old Moro Loot Ultimate Unique Uniques. Okay, are you guys kind of getting this now? Kind of getting the hang of this now? Okay, so we need to also do this now while we've still got unique uniques activated, because you know that, as you might remember, the whole point of this is basically to be able to deactivate unique uniques since we've merged it. So before we do that, let's go up to Audio Overhaul Skyrim Unique Uniques patch and activate it. Now let's run SSE edit, right click and select none. Now find the Audio Overhaul Skyrim Unique Uniques patch, find Unique Uniques, find the main Audio Overhaul Skyrim ESP, and finally weapons, weapons merged, there it is. Make sure only those 4 are selected and tick OK. Once the background loader has finished, go into your Audio Overhaul Skyrim Unique Uniques patch, go to the file header, right click uniqueuniques.esp, edit, select yes I'm absolutely sure, and rename this weapons, merged.esp or whatever you've named your merged weapons mod and select OK. Now close this, making sure that only Audio Overhaul Skyrim Unique Uniques patch is selected and click OK. Now right click the overwrite bar and create mod. And let's call this 320 Audio Overhaul Skyrim Unique Uniques. Whoops, I did not spell that right. Patch and select OK. Now tick the checkbox to activate. Now if you hover over that mod, you should see that it is now dependent upon the master weapons merged rather than Unique Uniques. Now you should be able to go up to Unique Uniques, double click, and move Unique Uniques ESP to optional and select close. Now we want to merge our 2 artifacts mods into one, which means we will then need to change some patches that rely upon Zim's immersive artifacts as a master to whatever we then name this new merge. So let's go into SSE edit, right click the window and select none. Find Zim's, which is listed as ZIA, oddly enough, for Zim's immersive artifacts. So ZIA, and you should find ZIA complete pack v4.esp. Now find improved Daedric, Daedric artifacts and select OK. After the background loader has finished, left click and drag a box to select both ZIA and improved Daedric artifacts. Right click, select, check for errors. No errors found. Let's right click, select apply script, merge plugins v1.9, select OK. Make sure they're both ticked off, and in the settings you should still have extract BSA selected, although just to be safe, I think we're going to do it manually anyways because we've been having some problems. So select OK, create new file, OK. Artifacts, did I spell that right? Merged, and select OK. Now, in my case, it kicked me back to the mod organizer screen, but you can see it is over here in SSE edit. Right click, select check for errors, no errors, close, and make sure only artifacts merged is selected and select OK. Now in your overwrite bar, right click it and select create mod and call this 321 artifacts merged and select OK. Now tick the checkbox to activate that. But before you get rid of Daedric artifacts and Zim's immersive entirely, what we want to do is open artifacts merged in the Explorer, open Zim's immersive in Explorer, and open improved Daedric in Explorer. Improved Daedric has nothing but an ESP, so forget that one. But for Zim's immersive artifacts v1.4, it's got scripts, meshes, and textures, which we probably shouldn't have merged it if it has scripts. However, the other one doesn't have scripts, so we're not merging scripts. We still just have one mod with one set of scripts, essentially. So let's move these into artifacts merged. Actually, I kind of want to copy them in case we ever need this again for some reason, if the merge doesn't work or what have you. So let's actually leave them in both places and close the windows, tab back to mod organizer, and then hopefully we should be able to double click these, move the ESP into optional. I know it seems weird that we're only moving the ESP but leaving everything else in the file tree active in the game, considering we just, wait, that should have more stuff because we copied it back. Where is it? Let's go back. Oh, it's the Daedric. Okay, right. So we can move that one to optional. This one is the one that should have other things in the file tree. And yeah, so basically if all we're doing is moving the ESP out of the load order, all this stuff is technically still installed in the game, so it doesn't really make sense that we should have to drag and drop it into our new artifacts merged mod, because all that's going to do is make the files in artifacts merged overwrite the meshes and textures in the, you'll see a little thing here showing it's overwritten the things within Zim's immersive artifacts. And so I think we only really need to do that when there's a BSA, but I'm being extra careful, and it doesn't matter if it's overwritten anyways. So yeah, there's our artifacts, but now what we need to do, guys, are you listening, guys? We need to make sure that anything that relied upon Zim's immersive artifacts as a master now relies upon artifacts merged. So what we need to do is find the MLU Zim's immersive artifacts patch and the audio overhaul Skyrim Zim's immersive artifacts patch. Actually, that just reminded me of something. We have to actually leave ZIA complete pack in the available for now. Yes, that's very important. So let's activate that. And then we should be able to activate this. And that one was already activated. So, but we can only do these one at a time, if you'll remember, guys. So let's do MLU ZIA first. So let's sort with loot so that the masters and patches are all where they need to be in the load order before we try to change masters. Now let's go into SSE edit and run. Right click, select none. Now select ZIA for Zim's immersive artifacts. It should have highlighted it wherever it is. There it is. Now find MLU ZIA, select that, and we will also need the main Moraloot Ultimate ESP upon which that patch relies. And finally, our new artifacts merged, but where did loot sort it to? Let's just look for it. Artifacts, there it is, and check that. So all 4 of those, and select OK. All right, once the background loader has finished, drop down your MLU ZIA, which I don't know why MLU ZIA is sorted by loot above its master Moraloot Ultimate. That doesn't make any sense. MLU ZIA does have Moraloot Ultimate as a master, right? It doesn't. Well, that just begs the question, should it? Did the author of this patch forget to do that? Is it important? Obviously it isn't, or it wouldn't be sorted by loot above MLU. There must be a reason why it needs to be sorted above. Well, okay, I can't even begin to guess why that situation is going on, but all I know is we need to change ZIA Complete Pack V4 ESP in the masters. Yes, I'm absolutely sure. Now remember, this time we're not doing weapons merged. We're doing artifacts, capital A, space, merged, all caps, .esp, and make sure this is exact, letter for letter, word for word, space for space. Select OK. Now close and make sure only MLU ZIA has been changed and select OK. Now right click the overwrite bar and select create mod, and let's call this 322 Zim's immersive artifacts Moraloot Ultimate patch. Oops. And select OK. Now you notice this one has become redundant and unnecessary because we've altered the mod within it. Or the ESP within it. We can deactivate Moraloot Zim's immersive artifacts. We've got it here now. Not only have we got it there, but it should be now reliant upon artifacts merged, which is great. Now we're going to do the same thing for audio overhaul Skyrim Zim's immersive artifacts patch. So run SSE edit once again, right click, select none. Find Zim's immersive artifacts, which is listed as ZIA, you might remember. Tick that checkbox. Go to the audio overhaul Skyrim patches, which should be easy to find. There's like 100 of them, and find the Zim's immersive artifacts one. Now we also need the main audio overhaul Skyrim ESP selected. And finally, our new artifacts merged.esp, and select OK. Once the background loader has finished, go into your audio overhaul Skyrim Zim's immersive artifacts patch, go into file header, find ZIA Complete Pack V4, right click, select edit, select yes, I'm absolutely sure, and rename to artifacts merged, all caps. You guessed it, guys. .esp, and select OK. Now close, making sure that only audio overhaul Skyrim Zim's immersive artifacts patch has been is selected, and click OK. Now right click the overwrite bar, select create mod, call this 323 Zims, or actually, or yeah, that's fine. Zims, immersive, I'm getting confused now. Artifacts, audio, overhaul, patch, and select OK. Tick the checkbox to activate. And now you'll see if you hover over this that this relies upon artifacts merged rather than Zims Immersive Artifacts. Now we should be able to double click Zims Immersive and move the ZIA Complete Pack V4 ESP to optional and close without any flags going up. Now you'll notice in my load order I do have a couple of flags here for NAT, but that's kind of something I'll get into later, so don't worry about that. Oh, if you have that, if you guys have that because you installed this with me, just detick those until you have natural atmospheric Tamriel installed, which we will do later. It's important to install weather mods almost last, guys. It really is important. A lot of people might say, oh, install your lighting and weather mods now. No, don't. Trust me. I've done that before, and you will sometimes get weird situations where your weathers won't work right, your rain doesn't appear correctly and only appears in like the top half of the screen, all kinds of weird stuff. So please just wait on that, and I'll get into that later. I'm going to be showing you guys two different setups and allowing you to choose between the two because there are a couple of different ones I really like. In my graphics showcase video, I was using Vivid Weathers with the reshade ENB, the re-engaged ENB. However, natural and atmospheric Tamriel with the NVT ENB is also really nice in more of a desaturated realistic look and a little bit less vivid and saturated, but so good. They're both really good though. So I'm gonna do, when we get to that point where it's time to install those, I'm gonna kind of do a comparison and let you guys pick. But for now, just make sure your NAT patches are deselected. And if you'll recall, when we installed those, we titled those reinstall, wait, where are they? Reinstall if change weather mod. So if you guys decide you like Vivid Weathers with the re-engaged ENB more than natural and atmospheric Tamriel, we have to reinstall these and select that rather than NAT. But that's easy enough to do. It's not a big deal at all. But all I'm getting at is we will get to that, guys. So just deselect those if you've got those NAT patches installed and you don't have NAT yet installed, which you shouldn't, because you shouldn't install your weather mod yet. Okay. All right. So moving on, what else have we got? We've got an enhanced light and effects enhancer patch, which we're not going to install that till later. That's important. We could install better vampires now though. Okay. The Book of Silence patch. This one requires the Amidian-born Skyforge weapons, which the author of the Septum Guide says to absolutely not activate because it can cause crashes. So we might just have to unfortunately leave this patch uninstalled, I think, or the ESP. So let's see, high level enemies, Falskaar. Okay, so we can get Falskaar now. I don't see why that would hurt. I guess we could go ahead and get consistent older people so we can have opulent outfits. Okay. So let's get Falskaar, consistent older people, and better vampires. So I will leave links in the description for those guys. So go into Falskaar and get the main file mod manager download. This is a big one. It's going to take a little while to download. Just a heads up. Consistent older people SSE. I don't even think we need this. I hate that mod requires it. Like everything, all of our old people look fine, or all of the ones I've seen in my testing, whatever. I don't think it's going to hurt anything either. Or if it does, we can uninstall it. So let's get that. If it changes some face tints with diversity and stuff, that's the only thing I'm worried about, is more like black face and purple face bugs and stuff, but we'll deal when we get there if we get anything like that. Now get Better Vampires 8.2 Special Edition. Just download the main mod manager download main file. Don't get this. We don't need that because we're not using Sacrosanct or Royal Bloodline. So just the main file. I will be back when these finish downloading. Alright, my consistent older people and Better Vampires 8.2 have finished downloading I'm still waiting on Falskaar, but we can go ahead and get started. So double click consistent older people, right click the data directory, select set data directory. It should say looks good. Now we're going to come in here and we're going to number this. What is wrong with my cursor? Okay, 324 and select OK. Now let's see if this overwrites anything in Wicca or diversity or any of that, because that's kind of what I'm worried about. Let's take this off. Doesn't look like it is. It must not be loose files. It must just be an ESP and a BSA. Yeah. So hopefully that won't cause problems with Wicco and diversity and all that stuff. And Ethereal Elven Overhaul, we'll see though. We'll see. All right, now better vampires. Double click, expand. Let's number this one at 325. Select OK and tick the checkbox. And while we're waiting on Falskaar to complete, we can go ahead and go in here now and select the Falskaar Night Better Vampires patch. And the opulent outfits all in one, which for some odd reason required consistent older people, which is why we got that one. So we're just kind of cleaning things up here. You'll notice we only have a few more, like immersive citizens requires enhanced lights and effects. We're not going to get that yet. There are a couple here with flags for Nat, which we could change out for vivid weathers, which I'll go over with you guys later. And I think that's pretty much, oh wait, what's this? Oh, the Book of Silence patch. I don't think we can do that one because it requires a mod. We've been instructed never to install because it can cause CTDs. So, oh, and then Falskaar, which we're waiting on currently. So, and it's at 99%. All right, once Falskaar has finally finished, double click and let's number this one at 326. I can never get my cursor in the right place. 326, select OK. This one's going to take a bit. All right, tick the checkbox next to Falskaar to activate, and now we can go into plugins and scroll all the way up to our high-level enemies, Skyrim Immersive Creatures Special Edition Falskaar patch, and select that one. Hooray. Okay. Now what else? So here's what we're gonna do. So if you don't have any weather stuff installed yet, so you should de-tick these. Make sure there's nothing in your load order that has any flags or warnings, and select loot and sort. All right, after you sort with loot, if you plan on going to visit Darkwater Crossing, just make sure to drag it beneath the Verdant Landscape patches merged. And now jump in there and test your game, guys, and let me know how it goes. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.